All right, this is your boy D back with another video on You Can Be Free. Right now, I got my boy Rick with us today. He's gonna share his story, powerful testimony that I've been looking forward to. Rick, you can just go ahead and just take it from here. People know me, I don't waste time, I just get right into it. So you can just start from any parts of your testimony that you want to start with first.
Uh, so, um, well, Hi. Uh, my name is Ricky. I I'm Puerto Rican. I grew up in Washington. Um, First, I was born in Puerto Rico, raised there up until like the age of 5. Um, I had you know, regular things, playing outside, marbles and quarters. Uh, I remember that in that in that place where I lived at, the neighborhood that I lived at, we had there was a lot of drugs and shootings, and um, my mom was actually her her brothers and cousins were actually part of a motorcycle gang out in Puerto Rico. So they would sell and deal a lot of drugs. Um, so what I would do as a kid was that my mom would tell me to hide. Would hide when we had a lot of like people would try to come over and stuff. Uh, grow a little bit later in that same neighborhood. I actually had an encounter with a neighbor, um, which I actually sorry. Um, so I actually got molested by that neighbor. Um, Growing up, uh,
And
I
how old were you at this time?
I was like 3-ish, 4
Mm-hmm.
around that time.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, and then fast forward a little bit. After being in, after we had to move out from there, my mom was actually in a relationship with a guy that would beat her constantly, and we witnessed those things growing up. But she would always put herself in front, so that we wouldn't get so we wouldn't get hit and stuff. But we still ended up getting hit, beat and everything. And a little bit later, we moved out to Washington with one of my aunt. With my aunt, and she still did drugs. She still did like cocaine and stuff. But the house that we were staying at, we just saw it as a more safer place to live at, um, considering where we we were at before. Um, so, but it seemed to be like they had their own competition thing happening, and and the man didn't. He wanted to do whatever he wanted. He didn't want anybody to tell him anything, So uh, he continued to beat my mom, and as time passed, I uh, I found myself taking that type of position that my mom was taking, as trying to step in so my sisters wouldn't get hit, or so the my what's it called, when they would be arguing and yelling, I'd be the one that's like, hey, stop it.
Right.
Like I was that one kid. Um and um what I noticed growing up is that carried forward into the future, because I after experiences that I went through, I felt a low self-worth, due to the molestation, the abuse, and to all these things. I felt like it was like I didn't have I didn't have any power. I didn't have any, um, and also, well, when I would try to go to sleep, I'd see like different figures, like shadows or like toys would move, and it freaked me out. Because what's it called? The people would be sleeping, and I try to wake them up, and it's like they weren't waking up, and it was just like I was there alone, so I had this like overwhelming fear over me of like I was alone, in it by myself, like something was gonna happen to me, somebody was gonna grab me, like somebody, and thinking back, I feel like it had to do a little bit with that trauma of like, like I felt hopeless at the time when things were happening, that it what's it called, that fear carried over to like, oh well, I'm by myself, nobody can wake up, I can, something's happening and nobody's knowing, and then later on.
Let me ask you something, Rick. When you would feel this way, did you say in the beginning though that you actually would see something though too, like a shadowy figure?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
All
I would
right.
have, I would see like a little shadow figure that would pass by, like it was like out the corner like that, and it would go to the side, and I would get like this fear over me, so I'd cover myself, I'd be like, wait, what was that? What was that? And then what's it called? There'd be like these bumps. Like it's not like my bed would like flip up in the air or anything crazy like that. But what's it called? But I feel like these like little bumps from under the bed, and I freaked out, and I'd freak out. And as I got older, that happened again, but it was already when I was in my teens. Anyways, I'll come back to
But no,
that.
that go ahead though, because the reason why I asked you that, even when you're talking about the bed like moving like that, there's
Yeah.
people that's seen those figures, but there's also people that have you know mentioning about the bed, rising up like that. So I know exactly what you're talking about. That's why I wanted to ask you about that. But you can go ahead. You said
Oh, okay.
fast forward after that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So later on, when I was in my teens, well, before my teens, like at 12, at the age of 12, I started seeing videos, like movies and stuff, and about like um things that had to do with like like demons and like things like taking over our body, dudes making it seem cool to like smoke cigarettes and all this stuff, and I would see my mom smoking cigarettes, and so like, I want to try, I want to see what this is all about, like she's always, like she's always yelling at us and telling us stuff and everything, but and then the one time I see her relaxing stuff is when she's smoking a cigarette. So I was like, let me see what this is, so I went and I grabbed one, and I tried it. Of course I started coughing, new lungs. Baby, I started coughing, but
Right.
I just kept, I found an attraction to it, so I kept smoking. um I started seeing the kids around me, and a friend of mine actually introduced me to pornography. In those same apartments out in because we had moved out of my aunt's house because there was a big problem happening with my mom and my aunt, so we moved to those apartments. But but yeah, they had I remember that there was a boy there that he showed me pornography for the first time and everything, and it sparked an interest. It sparked like that interest of like pursuit and looking for those type of things, like.
You feel like something like came alive in you, like something just rose up like
Yeah.
that. How old were you at this time?
12.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and then what's it called? Because I knew I had little things like that throughout my life, but it was nothing like I want to pursue it now. Like I'm looking for it now. You know, I would intentionally play like cops and robbers and stuff, but my own way. You know, uh, like it was it was not right. It was not right the way that I would play. Um, as what's it called? As I got older, we moved to these other apartments. We kept moving. I moved to these other apartments when I was 14. Um, uh, no, I was still 13. I was still 13. We moved to this. I turned 13. We were at these other apartments. Uh, and I noticed that that I would have like little session with the girls in the apartments. I would try to get their attention. One of those things where I'd play cops and robbers, in the way that it was like that I would frisk, play like what's it called? Like kind of like a spin the bottle
Yep.
and stuff. All these things that I would see in movies, and I was like, well, I want to try that out. Um, you know, um, I supposedly had, girlfriends, all this stuff. Um, I don't know what I was in. I was 12. I mean, I was 13. But um, uh, what re what really made everything shift in my life, because I had seen a little bit about gangs and about drugs and about things like that in the past.
Hmm.
Um, in those apartments, like in school, everybody's like, I'm a Crip, I'm a Blood, I'm a this, I'm a that, you know, whatever. Back then, so I would see those things, and what really sparked it was when I had moved at the age of 14 into Camp Washington. There is where people really were in gangs, where there really was things going on around, where there really was drugs, and things happening around me that I was able to get into a little bit more. When I was 14, I moved there. First time I ever encountered anything was that my stepdad was Mexican, so he'd have like these jackets from like California and like all these different things. So I went to the park to play at the apartments, and he had given me this jacket, but it was an LA jacket and it was blue. So so the guy walks up to me, uh, and he's like, "Hey, what's up? What's up, homie? How you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I didn't know what he was talking about, but I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he was like, "Let's go on a mission." And I was like, "On a mission?" I was like, "Okay." I didn't know what he was talking about. I thought he was playing like spy games or like something like that. I don't know what he was talking about. So he was like, "Let's go on a mission." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And we went to the store, and then he started grabbing stuff and put it in his pocket. I had stolen before, so I was just like, okay. But so I went and I got and I got something. I put it in my pocket. Um, but I was just like, he's like, where? When we came back, he's like, oh, that was cool. That was cool. Where are you from? And I was like, what do you mean? Like where was I born? And he's like, where are you from? I was like Puerto Rico. Like I was born in Puerto Rico, and that was the first time I ever got checked. I got punched in the mouth. I got punched in the mouth, and I was just like, "Oh snap!" And he was like, "Oh, I'm saying, like, where are you from? Where are you from?" And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I really don't know." And he's like, "Why you got all that on? Why you dressed like this? And everything." And I told him, I was like, "I got this from my dad." We actually became friends though after all that. Actually became friends after all that. But yeah, as time went on, things started going faster, and little by little they were like, had he was the same guy that was like, hey, hit this, and it was weed. I'd smoked cigarettes, so I had been stealing them from my mom every once in a while, and smoking cigarettes. But what's it called? I saw he came up and he asked me, he's like, hey, hit this, and I was like, what is that? And he's like, don't worry about it, just hit it. And I was like, all right, okay. So I hit it. That was the first time I smoked weed. I got high, and I didn't know how to, I didn't know what it felt like, but he told me, he's like, just relax. And I was like, no, but I gotta go home. And he's like, stop worrying about it. Don't worry about it right now. I was like, okay. So I just let it go, right? But since that day, that same kind of with the pursuing in lust, I saw that in the weed. And I was
You just
like,
had a new pursuit.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Which after the cigarettes, it was like, okay, so I'm looking for a cigarette. Like, oh, now I need a cigarette. Now it became I gotta try that again. That thing got me high. I don't know what that was. I need to try that again. That was good. That was good. You know, went into when I would hang out with him more and be like, hey man, hey, do you have any more of that? Oh, we need money now. Oh, okay. You know. So then I started going like to the house asking my mom for $5. Hey mom, you got $5? I want to go to the store. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I would just get it and we'd go buy it and then go smoke. And then like little by little, I started seeing like the little cholos and stuff that would hang out at the apartments. And they were all together. So I started hanging out with them. I thought that life was cool, and I'd see the rappers on the songs and everything talking about guns and drugs, everything, women, and all this stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, cool. And then when I saw them with it, I was like, oh, they're these people that they're talking about. Like, oh, cool, cool, cool. So I was like, hey, what's up, guy? Like that. That's so awesome to be around these people. Um, but what's it called? I started seeing what's it called, that they had like they it wasn't just weed that they had, um but I tried the weed. I started drinking with them. um they offered me Coronas and little things like that. And from there, from Coronas, went to like a little bit more other beers, and then into tequila. And went into the liquors. Um and then before I knew it, like I got to the house. And and I was really high, and I remember that my mom slapped me out of my chair. Yeah. She gave me the phone to talk to my grandma. And when I had when I was trying to talk to my grandma, I was stumbling over my words. I couldn't. And she was like, "What's wrong with you?" And she just kept looking at me. My mom knew, because growing up in the neighborhood, she would see her brothers, her cousins, everything high and drugged, and off of stuff. So she saw me and she was like, and got me. I was like, "Oh snap!" I fell down. Um, but what's it called? Seeing that. Going a little bit forward, I started hanging out with them more, in the sense of like, where they were like, oh yeah, you can join us, you can be part with us, you can be like us, and everything. So we actually watched a movie. We actually watched a movie together, and it had to do with these cholos and everything. And they told me, they're like, you could be like us, like and I was like, okay, cool. Like, like, where do I sign up? Like, that's cool. Like, and what happened was that it was the first time I got jumped. It was the first time I got jumped, but it wasn't like an initiation, which a lot of people think that the first time you like, you could get jumped, and it's like that's when you get jumped into a gang. Well, that time it was supposed to be, but they weren't known like that. So it never became like a real gang. Like they dispersed, because the area was more ruled over somebody else. Uh, another gang already was over that area so much that they weren't, you know what I mean, there. So I became like somebody who was just representing. So I just stayed representing. I stayed representing that for a while. And I found somebody across the tracks that he was from that. He was from the south side. So I was like, okay, cool. So let's click up, let's get together, and I would hang out with him. I was always at his house, like we became bros, and uh he's the one that like I started dealing drugs with him. We started selling to the neighbors, to the dude down the street, like people in other places, like and what's it called? Um, First weed. From weed, I went to coke. That's when I started doing coke. Um, from there, we were gonna do pills, sell pills. It really escalated, which is strange because like there was levels to it. Like there was like, oh, first like this, then like that, then like this is to make money. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, is this not making money? Okay, let's go to the next one. You know, but as the different levels kept going within me, the different addictions kept going, which went from weed to from weed and alcohol to coke to pills to and I remember that there I had such a I was using it. I at the time I didn't know, but I was using it to kind of like escape the responsibilities and reality of where I was going through, because I didn't want to deal with the facts that of the beatings that I would get, you know, um, the yelling that I would get at the house, you know, um, the problems that I would see around me, in the neighborhoods and stuff, and like the people that always wanted to fight, always wanted things, I I just like um, I just wanted to have fun. I was trying to keep I guess I was trying to like keep my childhood in a way. I don't know if that makes sense,
It
but
does.
like which yeah, like fighting back for it, and then so yeah, it just to clear everything, you know. Um, Little by little, became involved in like getting so close to each other with my friends and his friends, and we kept bringing everybody together so much that like one person got their phone stolen. Okay, well let's go find out what happened, And I was never really a fighter. I was never the type of person that would, oh, you say something to me and I'll fight you. I was more of a person that is like, if you do anything to them, oh, I got their back, you know. So that was always my personality. So there was actually a there was actually a time when one of my friends had pulled out a machete on somebody, and I took the machete away from him and told him to relax, because the other guy, and it was weird because in the moment I thought, like we were all for getting the stuff back, but there was always that like point in me where it was like, whoa, 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 wait, I can't go that far. Wait, like, nah, that's too much. That's too much, you know? Which it kind of like, I heard this word before, like where it's kind of circles around, you know? Um, because later on that same mindset comes out too, where where as time keeps going by, you know, they asked me if I wanted to become part of the gang, like the real one out in Seattle and stuff, and different places. So I was like, okay, cool, I'm down. I was like, I don't mind. So we they took me out there. I met everybody, hung out with everybody for a while. We were talking there, all this stuff and everything, and then they told me it's gonna take some time, because they had to get to know me, that I wasn't just some stranger out, out the woodwork trying to come in, and you know. So they got to know me a little bit, and then they told me, yeah, you can get jumped in. Got drunk, smoked. They took me out to the neighborhood and stuff, and smoked PCP. And yeah, and they jumped me in. What's it called? Then that's when all the the guns increased, in a way of like, well, now that you're in, you got to know that there's a lot of stuff going on, and we got a lot of enemies, so you got to watch your back. Just to let you know, like you can hit us up if anything goes down, but you got to watch your back. So then that put a little bit more of that, brought back a little bit more of that fear of like, oh, wait, what? Like, now there's more people out there. Oh, so then I had to cope to cope with the fear. I would I would ingest more, but at the same, I would ingest more drugs, substances, but then at the same time, I would have my like my guns and stuff, and I'd go to my family's house, like my mom's, and she was against the whole weed thing. She was like, "You better not try to smoke that in my house." Like, I'm like, like my mom was like, "Yeah." So I would sit out in the front on the porch, and I would smoke. I'd smoke a bowl, but I'd always be watching my house. I tried to teach my little brothers to like to watch the house if anybody came by, like all these things. And I handed like I told them where the guns were, and like, if anything happened, I thought, um, yeah. Uh, again, I'm not trying to glorify anything. I'm not trying to glorify anything. That's a horrible life. That's it, you know. But anyways, um, yeah, that happened. Then when as time went on, uh, I had a I had a son with this with my well, who's now my son's mom out in Oregon. She moved, right? Um, we got together, crush, and everything, and we were together for a while. Got pregnant, and then she had what's it called? She had her decisions that she made where she said, I don't want to be around this anymore. Like you're not taking it seriously. Our relationship is not, you know, it's not like you're choosing to be out there on the street. You're choosing to do the things that you want to do. That you're
And how
choosing
old are
to.
you at this point?
By that time I was around 17, 18,
Okay.
18. Yeah.
When you had your first kid.
When I had my first kid at
Okay.
18. Yeah. And
And
then
at this point, how long have you been in this lifestyle?
I had been in it for like at that point I was just about to get I had just gotten initiated.
Okay. Okay.
And what's it called? And I had been in the repping and the hanging out with the friends and everything, starting with drug and with a little bit of guns and stuff and things like that, a little bit like about dang, I don't know, like 8 years at that time. Wait, how long was it? No, that's way too long. 8 years is how long I've been saved. My bad. Like 4 years. 4 years.
Okay. Okay. And then so you have your first kid, and the baby mama is pretty much saying that she don't want no part of this lifestyle. And then so where's your mindset at this point?
At that point, she was like, I don't want anything to do with you. I want out, and I was just, I, I, I became the type of person that was like, I'm not having that. Like, you're not taking my son, and so I started coming around more. I was telling her like I was never the abusive type because I always carried that from my mom to like not beat women, not hit her, like not anything like that. But I
Right.
was telling her like, no, you're not taking my son. Like you're not taking him. So we'd have like arguments back and forth until the day that she was serious and she really did leave with her grandma. They moved out to Oregon, and when that happened, at the time I wasn't working, I was broke, and I was just in the gang life, like trying to earn something or trying to be somebody, and supposedly, and again like trying to do something, um, and like I was selling at that time. I was selling coke and stuff, so I was like, I became depressed. I fell into a depression because I felt like I had failed, you know, like I was holding on to being a father because thinking, well, since I didn't have my father with me, it's like I'm gonna be a better man than he was, kind of thing, like I could be better. You know, I could do better. Even though I wasn't. Even though I wasn't. But it was just like that mind, you know, of like, um, anyway. Yeah, and then like that mindset of thinking that I could that by me doing these things, it in a way was like, well, at least I still have my kids. Well, at least I'm still with my kids, you know. And then when my kids, when my son was taken, I just fell into like the thing, like I became the same man that I hated,
Mm.
you know, like because my father was he loved he did drugs and he was into that stuff, and then he was a womanizer, like he loved being with women and stuff and with different women and stuff, and I was like that too.
So you
Um,
feel like you fell into the addiction more because of what happened? Like, did your drug use get worse after that because of you losing your son and you feeling like a failure? And
Definitely, definitely, because as soon as that happened, I started getting more involved in the game. I was like, it went from me coming home almost every night to them, you know, and they're like, "Where you been at all day?" You know, to like, or like skipping out like 1 or 2 days where I didn't come home, to like a whole week and I wasn't home, like a whole 2 weeks and they haven't seen me. They're like, "Where's Ricardo? Like, where's Ricky?" And he's gone. You know, like and yeah, and then as I got deeper and deeper into it more and started trying to become make in a way like make the gang that was always telling me, oh, everything that you're doing is right. Yeah, man, what you're saying, I believe it. Yeah, you're the truth. Like you're the you're the best. Yeah, you're awesome, bro. Like like kind of always congratulating, always, So I was just like, man, this is my family. I was like, this is my family. You know, I know I'm getting beat, but I'm used to it. You know, but this is my family. You know, and and then as time kept going, I would see a little. We started getting a little bit more involved with drugs and stuff. Uh, I seen a little bit of what they call the the kind of world opening in a sense, like where oh, the breaking factor. Okay, the breaking factor. Yeah, the one that happened that changed it was that there was this guy in those same apartments that came up to me, um, to talk to me one day when I went to go visit my mom,
mhm.
because I saw her and I went to go visit her one day, and he came up and he was like, "Hey, little homie, like, what's up?" And I saw him and he was dressed like me. He's all like, "Hey, what's up?" Like, and and he told me he's like, I'm a Lord Sider. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, I know the Mormons that come by and try to knock on the door and everybody hides. The same as the Jehovah Witnesses, or like, you know. And I was just like, what's that? Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, oh, you should come to my church. I was like, oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I heard about you guys. Like, that's weird. I don't know. I don't want to come to your church.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, come on, man, you should come, you should come. And I was like, all right, whatever, let's go. Like I'll go one time, because he just seemed cool. He seemed like a really cool guy, like, the way he was dressed and everything. I was like, hey, man, he just like me, like nothing different. So I was like, okay, let's go.
So he didn't kind of seem like religious.
No, no, he came to me like straight up, like I am who I am, but Jesus though. Like, but Jesus though. And I was like, that's good. That's good. I love that. I love that because it's real. It's real. It's like I know that we all go through things, but you know, little by it's a process. It's a process, little by little, and plus we're not perfect. You know,
The reason
so
I asked you that, man, but and then we'll continue with your story, is because like a lot of people don't realize. So those other religions that you mentioned, like Mormons and Jehovah Witness, if you notice, they carry the same spirit, like a spirit of religion. Like they're it's like a program, like a robot. But some Christians are like that too.
yeah,
They uh they're not really relatable.
Right.
They carry a spirit of religion, the Pharisee, and they don't realize that a lot of their family members and their friends really don't want to be like them because of the presence that they're carrying. You know what I mean?
Right.
But go ahead.
Right, exactly. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's it called? So when I went with him, I was like, yeah, I'm down, like let's go. And we went, he we went to the church, and of course we sat in the back. I was I was trying to go up in the front. I don't know, I went and sat in the back, and I was just listening. And the preacher sounded very interesting. He like when he was talking, he almost sounded like he was talking to me, but I was not really paying that much attention. I was kind of more talking to him, and he was like, "Oh no, man, hey, pay attention!" Like, no, oh, that's good, preacher. Woo, And I was just like, all right, okay, And I was like, what are we doing? I was just like, okay, And then at the end, when the preacher did the call, he said, "Hey, if anybody wants to give their life to Christ, come to the front." And I was like, uh, no, no. He told me. He said, "Hey, go." And I was like, I don't want to go up there. He's like, "No, no, go." And I was like, all right, I guess. So I went to the front, and from my family there, they have a like Catholic background. So I know like the Lord's Prayer, things like that. So when I went to the front, I went and sat down. I kneeled down because I saw everybody kneeling down. And I was like, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. So I kneeled down, and I was just like, close my eyes, look around. Um, I was just like, Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And as a little bit, I felt like I went to sleep or something. I felt like I fell asleep or something while I was praying. But I remember that it was like a hall, and it was like lights that came like, and I opened my eyes, and the preacher in Spanish was like, "And then Jesus," and I was just like, "Oh snap! Like what just happened? Like he attacked me or something." He had his hand on my head. I was like, "Oh snap!" And I was like crying. And I was like, what happened? You know? And we left. We left everything. He was like, how was it? How was service? I was like, it's all right. That was weird. That imprint left in my mind, like, that was weird. That was a weird moment. That was so weird. And went back to life, was back in the same life and everything. And then I remember that when I started listening, I was always listening to music. If I didn't distract myself with music, I was smoking something. If I wasn't smoking something, I was hanging out with somebody, talking to them about, oh no, no, but how are you doing? How's your day going? How you been? Like, and always like deviating off of me, like, no, 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 how are you? How are you? How are you? You know? And what happened was that I remember that I started listening to music, and then the music became interested, like, wait a minute. That's kind of weird that they're talking about these things, is like almost like they have a message behind what they're saying. Like that's weird, you know? And I remember a day that I went out to Seattle with the homies, and we had just followed the supposedly enemies that we had back then, the rival gang. We had seen them, and they started following them, and they took a right like that. So we took a right this way, and then went around, and they actually ended up in front of us when we went out on the road like that. We took a left. They actually on the right like that. They were in front of us, and they stopped. You know, they stopped right there, and we were like, "Oh, snap!" So we pulled back, and when we reversed like that, I was in the rear passenger seat, and I remember that they shot at us. I just remember they were like, and I remember that everybody went down, and I was like, I saw everything like start slowing down, and I was just like, oh snap, and I felt something push me like that, and I was like, oh, and I hit in the back of the seat. I remember that, where the seatbelt part is, like right there where the metal, where the door opens and closes, right there. I just heard, and I was like, oh, and I went down like that. And I was like, oh snap, and when I went down, we started driving off, and I was like, they almost hit me, and they're like, they're like, calm down, calm down, calm down. Because everybody, like, my whole life was telling me, like, every time that I said something, like, hey, I'm scared of this. Like, there was something that happened. Like, there was a shadow in my room. Like, oh, there was like these things that I see. Everybody was always like, you're tripping, you're crazy, you're on something, So when that happened, they were like, calm down. They almost hit all of us. I almost hit all of them. They like, calm down, calm down. And then when we parked and we got out of the car, I saw the dent in the door, like right there where the door jam was. And they're like, "Oh, snap! You almost did get hit." Like, almost did get hit. And I was just like, that same night, I was sitting in the front. I was listening to one of my songs, sitting there, and I was smoking a bowl. And that was the first time I ever heard that Bible verse that stuck in my head forever. I was sitting there, I was smoking a bowl in the front with my headphones in, and I remember that I just heard, where it's like, no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment thou shalt condemn. Isaiah 54:17. And I just I let go of my lighter. I was like, and I just felt chills, like goosebumps all over my body. And I was just like, what was that? I had to replay it like 3, 4 times. I was like, what? I ran inside and I told him, bro, check this out. Like, check this verse out. Like, oh, like, did you? And that was the first time. Um, Then a little bit later, I ended up getting on Facebook. I was looking for a girl. Not gonna lie, I was looking for a girl back then. And what's it called? And I saw Who's Not My Wife, and I sent her a message. I was like, she's cute. So I sent her a message, and then she messaged me back, and she was like, hey, I haven't seen you in so long. And I was like, so long? What? I guess she had seen me in middle school when I had hair. Uh, So I was like, what? She was like, yeah, it's been so long, I haven't seen you, this, that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. And she's like, yeah, we should get together, we should talk and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, yeah, yeah. My intentions were something else, but she was friendly, and I was like, okay, cool, cool. And then as time went on, she would tell me when I was out there and I would get drunk on the bus or like be with them and everything. She'll like, don't worry, I'll be praying for you. I'll be praying for you. And I was like, who says those things? Like, you're gonna be praying for me. Like I've never heard anything like that except for like my mom saying like, oh yeah, yeah, like we need to pray, like may God bless you. May God bless you and stuff, you know? And but she was like, I'll pray for you. I'll keep you in my prayers, like, and all that stuff. And I was just like, oh, okay, sure. Thanks. I appreciate that. And then, once I started talking to her, I, I saw something that I couldn't explain before, but it was like I started seeing, when I started talking to her, it's like I started seeing the evil in my friends' faces. Like my friends started changing. The way that they treated me was different. The way that their faces would react was very different. Um, and uh, and it was almost like a if I tried to leave, they would get a little bit more like, no, no, now we need to go to. There was another meeting that we had to get together and at the neighborhood, like in the neighborhood. Oh, we gotta get together. Oh, if something happened, oh no, we you gotta come back. Oh no, you gotta, like this and that. And it was always like, yeah, you messed up. Oh, remember when you did that? Oh yeah. Oh, remember that? All this and another. And I was like, what is going on? What is going on? Um, I remember that there was a day where we had gotten so close together, and this is where by that time I was already we were out there, and that was the first time I tried meth. Um, Actually, no, wait, I had already been on that. I'd already been on it because a homegirl had told me to stay awake, and she had me try it. So I tried it, and because I was falling asleep in the car, and she's like, "You gotta watch your back, if anything." So she's like, "So you gotta stay awake. So hit this." So I smoked it, and I woke up instantly. I was like, "What is this?" You know? And what's it called? So that was another pursuit, another thing that I was like, "What? You can wake up instantly?" Like, um, and it just became another thing. And then afterwards, when I like a little bit before I met my wife, I started smoking heroin. with because they had brought it in and I wanted to try it. And yeah, anyway, got involved in that. But anyway, back to the other part. When I was with her, um, uh, she had asked me to come to church with me, and I told her, I don't know, I've never really been to church like that. I've never been really like a church guy. Like I don't like I did have that experience with the cholo guy, but she didn't know that. I was just like, no, I don't know, I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea. And at that time, I had a 4 day like not no sleep off of meth, like staying awake for 4 days, and I started smoking. We got together and we hung out. We had a party. There was girls, all this stuff, everything at the party, and my homie falls asleep. And when he fell asleep, I told him, I was like, okay, well, everybody left, and my the other homie was like, no, we gotta go. And having that protective kind of thing, like, no, but he's my family. Why would I just leave him there? Why would I just, like that doesn't sound right. Like I thought we were brothers. I thought we loved each other. I thought we, like, no, bro, we should stay here. What if somebody comes back and tries to kill him while we're asleep? That would be on us. So I had my gun and I was like, no, bro, I'm staying. And he was like, okay, well, let's stay, and we stayed. When he woke up, we were like, okay, let's go. We left. We left and we went to this house. We went to this house. I remember that that there was like a couple people there, not too many, but they were like, oh, let's smoke, let's hang out and everything. So I was like, okay, cool. So while I was smoking meth, I was hitting the pipe, and when I was hitting it, they I hear the door, and these two young ladies walk in. And when they walk in, they were like they were telling me, they were like, hey, come talk to the girls. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, what is that? And they were like, hey, come talk to these girls. And I was like, they're these two young girls. Why? Like I had already when they walked in, I was like, oh, it's and I kept smoking. But they were like, oh no, like come holler at them, come, everything. I was like, wait, whoa, 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 like chill out. Like, no, that's not, like we're not doing. Are you really, like, is this really happening right now? Is this really what's going on right now? And
Because these girls was underage.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And it was a test that they were trying to, and I was like, why are you trying to put that test on me? When it's like I hadn't, like I haven't given you any reason for you to sit here and, like why are you trying to put that test on me? Because that's the test that can get you killed. So I was like, well, why are you? I thought we were homies. Like what? Like what's up? And then as as the night kept going, I started feeling that sense of I couldn't leave, and their face changed. That was the part that I forgot to mention to you. What's it called? It seemed like their face changed.
Like
and
demonically, like they look demonized.
Yeah, like you could tell that it was like it went from like hey, what's up, like everything, like we were talking, oh, what's up, bro, what's up, to like the whole, like I don't know, something with their face, I was just like, oh snap, like and then it felt like I couldn't leave. Like I couldn't leave, like I had to stay there. And then I was just like, what's going on? What's going on? And then it, like the atmosphere changed, and then as the night kept going, they brought out like fear tactics, things like that. And I remember that the songs that I had listened to, there was one that was called like Evil Whispers and all these other things that I had heard that was like what was going on that night. And it was, I don't know if it was, at that point it was like the Lord revealing it to me, that it was like, oh yeah, that setup that they do to this guy, to this guy, to this guy, to this guy. Yeah, that's what's going on to you right now. The like as if there's something else here besides just you guys, and I was just like, well, that's crazy. So when we went to the garage, they were shooting up, and I never shot up because I was afraid of needles. I've always been afraid of needles my whole life. Thank God, I've been afraid of needles my whole life. But like, so I never shot them. But what they call, when I would see them and everything, and I saw like how they were changing and everything, um, I put the songs on, and I was like, oh, let's put some music on, and I put the songs on. I purposely put them on so they would hear it, right? Like I know what you're doing. Like I know what you're kind of like a thing like, oh, let the music speak for itself. Like, oh yeah, I know what you're doing, you know. And when I put it on, they kept looking at each other like, wait, how does he know? Like, how does he know what's going on? Like, how? Wait, what? And as the night went on, like we kept going like that, we kept going like that, and then everybody passed out. Everybody started passing out when it was getting close to the morning, and then I felt that like, okay, you can leave. And then I left. I went to my house. Um, I went to my mom's house at that time. Went to my mom's house, and I came in and I passed out. They messaged me, and right away they were like, "Hey, we need to have a meeting." And I was like, "I'm not going. I'm not going." And they're like, "You need to show up." I'm not going. I'm not going to the meeting. And they're like, they sent me like all these, everything. And I was just like, put my phone on silent. I left it. And then who's now my wife, she showed up and she was like, I'm gonna pray for you. She prayed for me. And then I stayed for 2 weeks in my mom's house, sweating, feeling like my body was aching and everything. I was coming withdrawals. I was having withdrawals and everything, and I was just like, ah! My bones felt like they were aching, like my muscle felt like it was like being stretched and everything. I just felt like I was like, oh man. And the whole process of that time, I just kept hearing like him saying so like, no, we're gonna like you better show up, like we're gonna beat you up if you don't show up, like let me find out you're not coming around, like all this stuff and everything, like you know. And then what's it called? There was a after that, I never went back. Never went back. But after those weeks, after that time, excuse me, I went with my wife to church. Yeah, I went with my now wife to church, and um, I went and I was sitting in the back, and I heard well, not in the back, we were like in the middle, but anyways, I heard the preacher, I heard the pastor, which funny enough, that pastor, that church was at the first apartments that we moved into in Washington. Like it was like down the street.
Where you had that encounter with that one guy
with the lust and everything. Yes, yes. That the same exact. And when I started smoking cigarettes,
gotcha,
right down the street, and what's it called? And I heard him like as if he was talking to me, as if he was talking to me the whole time. It just felt like a pressure of like he was talking to me like the whole time. And I was just like, oh snap! Like how does he know me? And I kind of like low key, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like looking at my wife like, has she been like anything about me? Like I was like, has she been saying things to, you know? And what's it called? And then but I felt such a conviction, like from what everything that he was preaching about, that when they did the altar call to come to the front, I went up. I went up by myself. I went up, and that day I gave my life to Christ. I did. I gave my life to Christ.
And this is 2016 when this happened?
2015 still. When I gave my life to Christ, but when I fully dedicated my life to Christ and was baptized was 2016. Yeah. And
okay. So I want to talk about some things. First off, what you were seeing with those guys. A lot of people don't realize sometimes God will allow people to see in the spirit realm. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people see stuff like that, like when they're on acid and stuff, and they don't realize they're actually seeing what's there. Mm-hmm. People in different times of their life, I've talked to you about this last night. I feel like you got the gift of a seer, but sometimes people can see certain things. There was this guy I know a couple of years ago. He was telling me he was having sex with a woman one time, and he actually, when she was on top of him, he had seen like a goat face, Baphomet, you know what I mean? Yeah. But what he was actually seeing was really there. People don't realize how they see in the spirit realm or what they look like in the spirit. You were actually able to see what your friends was looking like in the spirit, and also you was able to feel the influence over your friends, because you said it felt like there was something else there that was keeping you there. You know, people don't realize this we're in the physical realm, but there's so much stuff going on, you know, in another whole nother world that is actually more real than this world. You know, some people, they're walking around, but they don't realize in the spirit realm they have chains on them. That's a representation of people being in bondage, you know. And then so when they see themselves in dreams, which is a spirit world, they're wrapped in chains, or they have blinders on because, you know, they're blind to some things. And then and sometimes people look good, you know, like they have armor on, they have angels surrounded around them. It just depends on like what you are dealing with in the physical realm. There's something in the spirit realm that represent what you look like in the physical, or what is going on around you, you know. So I want to talk about that. But something else that I liked about your story too is like where you were getting free in, where you found freedom, is the same place where the enemy thought that he was doing something. And God like to show off like that sometimes. Sometimes like our worst memories on the earth, whether if it's a place or if it's a certain day, God will do something and, you know, just make it like he'll do something beautiful with it. You know what I mean? He'll give us, the Bible talks about, I think it's in Isaiah, how he'll give us beauty for ashes. But so you get saved in 2015. What led you to like really get serious and get baptized and all that in 2016?
I guess the process of like uh reflecting back on everything that was happening in my life before that. Um a lot of things that I like to share the most is with people is my testimony. Um and I think that it's like when I what was helping me a lot is like, wait, through the process of the when I was at that church, yeah, let me make it simple. When I was at that church, um they wanted me to do the baptism classes before I got baptized, you know. Um but that day I was just ready. I had already been at that church for a while. They were doing baptisms and stuff, and they were like, if anybody else wants to get baptized, don't feel pressured. You know, you don't have to. And if you don't feel ready, don't get baptized. They're like, just don't. It's okay. You can take your time. And I was like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. Let's go get baptized. And I got baptized. Then I did the classes after. When I did the classes, the of baptism, there were I stopped hearing from them. I stopped hearing from the homies. I stopped hearing from all the people and everything. Once I started going to church, I stopped hearing from them, right? And then they said something that was beautiful. They said that during the baptism classes, they said, just like how with Moses, when he split the Red Sea, you know, and uh, and they were pursuing him. The Pharaoh and everything were pursuing Israel, and they got to the other side, and then it closed back up on them, and they stayed back there, you know. He's like, that's how your new life's gonna begin in God.
Mm,
You
mm, mm.
know? I look, when I started looking back, I was like, it's crazy. I actually went back to go preach to one of my homies, and I was like, hey, bro, like how you been? How's everything going? And I still had a little bit of that worry in me, like, wait, are they gonna come out of nowhere? Like try to do something to my family, and like I gotta be careful. And I told him, I was like, hey man, have you heard anything about the homies? Like if anybody's looking for me and stuff, and that he's like, oh no, bro, nobody's worried about you right now. Like, and there's so much stuff going on. Like there's so many like a war's going on basically, with them, like between the rival gangs and all that stuff and everything. And most of they're like, bro, they're not even worried about you. I was like, not to I don't wish that upon anybody. I'm not saying that I anything like that. It's just it did give me like a little bit of relief to think like, wow, because it flashed me back to that word that they gave me, and I was like, wow, they got so entangled up in their own thing that it's like they're not even looking for me anymore. And I was like, wow, praise God. Like, that's why, I was like that, and then I was able to walk freely. I could walk freely down the street. I could, without the worry of like, like who's there, like, watching over your shoulder, like, oh, just in case anybody comes, I gotta be ready, I gotta be prepared, I gotta, like, because I lived in it, I lived in that going through the game, like, oh, who knows if anybody's gonna come up out of nowhere, anybody's gonna try and shoot me at a party or anything, so I gotta be ready. And that fear just went away.
And I see it all over you too. You know what I mean? I love your story on the representation spiritually of how it is, because you were talking about how, the gang, it made you feel validated, it made you feel loved, it make you feel accepted. See, the devil knows what he's doing. You know what I mean? He's not just offering us things. He knows our hurts, he knows our pain. So as a kid, you were looking for control and you were looking for power, but you was really looking for love and protection. You know what I mean? And so you coming a part of this gang, that's what you were feeling that it was, because it's deception, is manipulation, behind that. But then at the same time, that, like you said, they were bringing so much abuse to your life. They was introducing you to a lot of addictions. And then when you violate, you'll get hit. You know what I mean? And then that's how it is in the world. We stay loyal to things that are really hurting us. We keep going back, but it's not because of the pain that we're feeling. It's because there's a part that the enemy is fulfilling on with the inside. You know what I mean? It's really a lie though, but we're looking for that love. We're looking for that validation that we didn't get when we was younger through the childhood trauma. And so the enemy is providing a lie, and that's what keep people bound. You know what I mean? But it's the truth that set us free. And I love how you were talking about how when Moses and the children of Israel crossed over to the Red Sea, because that's a word for somebody too. You know what I mean? Because that's in Exodus chapter 14. I think it's in verse 13, where he was telling the children of Israel, God had gave Moses a word, and he said, these Egyptians that you see today, you shall see no longer. And the thing is this, people can be bound up for so long. They feel like that these Egyptians in their life, whether it be cigarettes, whether it be pornography, whether it be probation, people having a hard time getting off parole, you know what I mean? But there comes a time when God says enough is enough, and those Egyptians that you see today, you shall see no longer. And it's like he can make us new to where it's like it didn't even happen, where enemies that was pursuing you, they ain't even thinking about you no more. You know what I mean? So I love that. So this, from 2016, when a whole nother year, 2024, what has your life been like when it comes to the new life of being in Christ, the good and the bad?
Good and the bad.
Yeah, because everybody think it's all good. It ain't all good.
Yeah, no, it ain't. Okay, so I've been went from a bass player at a church to getting into a 40-day fast and getting into experience a little bit more of the gifts, developing a little bit more in the what is the gifts, um, um, seeing changes within people and stuff, growing a little bit more spiritually, figuring out what my gift was, and somebody said that they imparted a gift, and I was like, that was beautiful. Thank God, because I have been praying for that, and then what's it called? Was worried about not being able to evangelize, because I love to evangelize. But was able to go at least once or twice since I've been here, in Florida now. And then, but the bad, we're talking about the bad list. Still struggle with sin nature, with what is of like, oh, maybe today I was a little prideful. Maybe I said something I shouldn't have said. Struggle with the did I just lie? I hope I didn't lie. Also with lust, like where you see something, you're like, you double take and you're like, oh, things they still struggling, but it's not. It's like I'm better than what I was before.
Right.
Better than where I was before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Definitely more growth in my life, but just yeah, the same struggles that anybody can go through, you know. Just making sure that is God who gets the glory, because for us it's like how we know we're saved by grace through faith, and not a result of works, so that none of us can boast. None of us can
Right.
say that it was us and that how we did it by our own strength and how we no, and that I think that's the struggle that I've had to since 2023 and 2024, kind of like come to the realization of, they because I always put myself down. I always just put myself down, saying, "Well, I fall short. I fell short so much. Maybe maybe God is gonna like forget about me, But now realizing it's like that's not true. That's not true. We all fall short of the glory of God. We all do. And yeah, that it's only by Him, by His finished work on the cross, that we're able to walk free. There's actually a testimony about that. My bad. I'm sorry. I know. I'm still trying to answer your question, but I got a little.
You've answered it. You've answered it. I'm just letting you roll with it. You know what I mean? You already answered the question. I don't like cutting people off. You know what I mean? So I'm just letting you kind of wait till you come to a pause, and then I'll ask you something else.
Okay, cool. So there was there's a little bit of a testimony that I had seen from a sister at church actually here in Florida that we were talking about the armor of God, and she's like, I see you with the armor of God, but hey, I was talking to God, and because she was praying, right? She sees things too, and but she sees things like, wow, crazy. She told me, she said, I saw you with the armor, but you didn't have the helmet.
Mm.
What is the helmet? Like I was trying to look for it, but she was trying to look for it in her in the Puerto Rican like slang
Mm-hmm.
of what a helmet is, and I was like, oh no, it's yelmo, not casco, And I was like, so, and she was like, oh okay, what does it mean? And I was like, well, it's a helmet of salvation. So it's like the assurance of your salvation and of like who you are in Christ. And then that's when she told me, I saw you with the armor, but I didn't see you with the helmet. And that hit me like a stone. Boom. Like it was like, what? And she told me, and I flashed back to all of it, and she's like, and God told me to tell you that if I couldn't find it, so I asked God, and He told me to come and ask you what it meant. And I was like, what? That it was just like, just ask Him. And when I told her, I was just like, wow, the assurance of your salvation. And I was like, that's the new one that's like God's trying to work on me with, like they was trying to work on me with, where it's like you need to be assured of your salvation because God already did the work. And it's like you're gonna fall short. There are things in your life that can happen. You're not gonna be perfect. Put your hand, put all that you are and everything that you're doing, put it into Christ. Give it to Christ. Give it to God. Give it to
And that's
God.
what a lot of people have hard times with, especially like, you was talking about your upbringing and you was talking about child abuse and different stuff like that. So, the process of one's salvation is really about the renewal of the mind from the past, because we've learned so much stuff from this world. The world teaches us like we work 40 hours a week, we're going to get paid 40 hours a week. If we work 50 overtime, we're going to get paid 50. If we only work 10 hours, we're going to get paid 10 hours. So it's based off our works. It's what we get. You know what I mean? And so a lot of people I see, they're trying to earn God's favor in if they fast 40 days, or if they go out preaching, or if they feed the homeless, or if they go, and some of them live in a place of condemnation, and they're preaching condemnation because they're bound by condemnation. They don't realize God is not human. He's spirit. So He don't work like we do. You know what I mean? His love is unconditional. Even like, you know what I mean? When He was beaten and hung on the cross and Peter left Him and denied Him 3 different times, when Jesus came back, He didn't mention that once to him, and it's hard for people to accept God's grace and knowing His love, you know what I mean? Because our whole life even with our parents, you know what I mean? It's about our works. Like when we do stuff good, we get good things from people, even in relationships with our wives and, you know, women that are married to husbands. Like you do good, you get good, but with God, it's completely different. My last question to you is, what word do you have, or like words of encouragement for anybody that is watching this and they've struggled with childhood trauma, or they struggle with addiction, as far as like recovery wise? Because you was doing meth, so you was actually going out there, you know what I mean? You was chasing the dragon, but you got free. And like I've told you many times, like I've seen you in person, you always got this smile of just like joy on you, you know what I mean? I would have never known that that was your story until we start rapping about it. Like, what word do you have for people that are just still out there, just to give them some hope and inspiration?
I would say I don't remember what part it's in, but I would say just as the word says, seek the Lord while he may be found and call upon him while he's near. You know, because a lot of people, you know, uh, I think that the part that kind of moved me into that was while he's near or while he may be found. You know, like call on him. Like, you know, like what do you lose? What will you lose? You know, like you know, like, just asking God to reveal himself. You know, asking God to present himself to you. You know, letting them know, hey, well, I want to know you, or you know, hey, if you're real out there, show me. You know, like I want to know who you are. You know, like I want to have a relationship with you. You know, like
That's it. That's
you know,
it. And I like that, man. I had somebody on not that long ago, and they was just like, keep it simple, you know, keep it short, keep it simple. And you know, the Bible says whoever calls up on the name of the Lord may be saved. And you also said you have nothing to lose, and that's the problem. I was talking to somebody not that long ago at work, and we were talking about giving up some stuff and dying to some stuff. But the problem is, it's like where people really don't want to mess with God for real, or they don't want to give up stuff, is because in their mind, the enemy tells them that you're gonna lose some stuff, you know what I mean? Not realizing we got nothing to lose but everything to gain. Man, I want to thank you for your time, man. It's your birthday weekend, so I want to tell you happy birthday again, because you could be doing anything, you know what I mean, outside of hanging out with me right now talking about this. So I thank you for that, man. I'm excited to see the things that God is going to do in your life, because I mean, you got some big things going on when it comes to evangelizing and healing and deliverance. And so I'm going to end this video as I always do for people that will see this. Just know that you can be free no matter what you're going through in your life. If it's childhood trauma, addiction, depression, anxiety, just know that you can be and you will be free with Jesus, because who the Son has set free is free indeed. We love y'all, and we are out.